from the Awakened State, and we are here today to talk about more manifestation goodness. So when I first started on my manifestation journey, it's so easy to get caught up in all of the frilly details of, making the dream box and the vision board and all of these things and sparkle dust. And it just creates this elaborate fantasy. And we kind of have this askewed perception of how we view manifestation. And so I believe the first reason why people get hung up on manifestation is they believe it's this mystical, ultimate woo-woo concept that feels so otherworldly and out of reach that it askews our results. It becomes this, well, I suck at manifestation. I can't do X, Y, and Z, or I can't do this because of blah, blah, blah. And it becomes this elaborate, it becomes like this mystical, like psychic ability. And here's the thing. It is not remotely a mystical psychic ability. We do it all the time. We have been manifesting since birth. We are constantly manifesting. The problem is the majority of us are doing it unconsciously, and we don't know what the hell we're doing. The other problem is we're either doing it, but we're so caught up in the fantasy, in the mysticalness of it, that we don't ground it back into reality. So, I'm going to teach you the 5 ways that we truly have trouble manifesting. And I'm also going to attach it back to the chakras, because I believe the chakras and manifestation are completely linked. So let's get started. So number 1 was obviously we make it too mystical and magical that we don't actually believe we are capable of manifesting. This is a huge one, because think about it. A lot of us grew up in a world where we didn't believe in manifestation. Now, imagine if we did. Imagine if it was just normal to manifest. Imagine if it was like you grew up in a different school of life and it was already normal, it was already real, and it's so standard to just ask for what you want and know that it's going to show up. How much different would your worldview be if you just knew that? It would be entirely different. Your perspectives would entirely shift. And most of all, we'd probably have a way better world, because if we all knew we could consciously manifest, we would start being more precarious about our actions and our abilities and our thoughts and our beliefs, and it would cause a chain reaction. So, what chakra is this associated with? Well, this is associated with the crown chakra and our ability to believe in ourselves, our ability to believe we can manifest, our ability to have faith in ourselves. We cannot manifest if we do not have radical faith and belief in ourselves for it to happen. That is like completely dismissing the entire thing. Because if you don't have belief and faith in yourself, how the heck is the universe going to get behind you? It can't. It will not override your free will. So the first thing we must do, if we're having trouble with believing in the mystical side of manifestation, is realize you are already a manifester. You've been doing it since birth, and you must believe and have faith in your ability to manifest, because you are a natural born manifester. All right, what's number 2? Number 2 is similar, but it's where we get caught in the dreaming and wishing phase. And this is something I had trouble with a lot. And it's what a lot of us have trouble with, because it's thrown down our throats about how we see manifestation in the world. Like all of these law of attraction gurus are out there saying, dream really big, create vision boards and do all these things, create folders with everything you need and create a dream box and have all your crystals and get all the rituals and sniff your oils. And it's like all of that rituals and fluffy stuff, that it creates the same feeling as before, where it's mystical and magical and it feels separate from us. So we create the vision board and it's random and it's chaotic and we just slap things on a board because it feels good. And we're just like, okay, now what? Now what do? I just stare at the vision board, I guess, and visualize it again and keep visualizing it. And I love it. It's beautiful. It's so pretty. But what do I actually do? Like, there becomes this disconnect. So the second main reason why we get stuck manifesting is we get caught in dreaming and wishing mode. And I like to say it's like this. You basically get caught too long in dreaming and wishing mode. Like dreaming up a new reality for yourself and setting wishes and getting goal setting, all that is good. The problem is when you start creating an epic fantasy novel for yourself that you're completely out of touch with reality and you're so caught up in the dream that you are lost in the dream. And because you're lost in the dream, you're now completely separate from reality. And if you're separate from reality with your dream, it's not going to manifest because it's completely disconnected. And so you're over here thinking it's over here, but you're still in this reality over here, and you're dreaming and wishing and hoping and pleading and praying, and nothing is happening because you are not taking action. You're not believing you can take action. You're not in a state of gaining momentum, and it creates stagnant energy. Plain and simple. And then what do? It didn't work. I must not be good enough. And then we start going down the worthiness trap and the limited belief trap that, well, now I need to uncover 100 limited beliefs so I can be worthy finally. And it just creates this domino effect. And what is the huge problem? Well, this is due to an overactive third eye. The overactive third eye is so caught up in the dream, in the wish, in praying mode that they have separated themselves from reality. They have disconnected from soul. They have disconnected from guidance and ultimately from aligned action. Because if we are disconnected from our vision, we are separate from receiving guidance. And that is a huge one. Because if we are separate from receiving that guidance, how do we know the steps to take? How do we know what to do? We don't, because we're still caught up in feeling separate from our vision. And when we are separate from our vision, there is no momentum because the feeling has to live in the body. Now that leads me into number 3. The third reason why we have trouble manifesting is we are controlling the outcome. We're attaching ourselves so heavily to the outcome that we are chasing it like a carrot. We're chasing it like it's a carrot on a stick and it's forever out of our reach because we are constantly trying to control the process. We're controlling the manifestation. Now, if you've ever had a relationship where you feel someone's super clingy and always kind of like on top of you, always texting you, always calling you, always like needs to be around you, that kind of person, it doesn't feel good, does it? It feels like, oh, get away from me. Just go, please give me a moment of peace. Like as a mom, I know that. I know that feeling. It feels clingy, right? So this was something I had to overcome a lot over and over again. And it's common because we want it so badly, right? And if we want it so badly, we do get attached to the outcome, but we don't want to be so emotionally attached to the outcome that we're not okay if we don't have it. That creates a disconnect. It creates a controlling energy, which creates pressure and friction and resistance. So, number 3, we believe we are controlling the outcome. And because we are controlling the outcome, we are emotionally attaching ourselves to the results. By emotionally attaching ourselves to the results, we are chasing the results. Huge thing to learn. If we are chasing the results, we cannot receive the results because we constantly are in a state of lack. Surrender the chase. This chakra is obviously the solar plexus, because the solar plexus is all about control and lack of control and feeling powerless over circumstance. When our solar plexus is constantly trying to control the outcome and attach to the everything, and it also is connected to the crown, but I believe it's more so the solar plexus without question, because if we're constantly trying to strive for it, we're overworking the solar plexus. We're in overdrive. We're overworking. We're overachieving. We're trying to do it so much that we're pushing the energy outward instead of allowing the energy to come in. Really powerful stuff, because we start to see that when we're overworking and we're overachieving, yeah, you might create the manifestation, but you're going to be so burnt out, exhausted, and wiped out, you won't even enjoy it once it shows up. It'll just be another chasing cycle because you'll still be chasing that feeling. That is really powerful, because you start to see if that is your problem, you must surrender the chase and believe in its inevitability. All right, where are we at? Number 4. Number 4 is probably my favorite because it's the one I see happen so much, including myself. All these things I'm talking about are things I've went through. Just saying. Number 4 is obsessively chasing and striving to find all of the limited beliefs so that you can be healed, whole, and complete. Going down the rabbit hole of the limited belief paradigm and focusing on all of the things that are wrong with you constantly over and over and over again, to the point where you are constantly fixated on fixing yourself, that you are in a mentality of, I have to fix myself so I can feel worthy to receive. If I constantly fix myself, then I'll be able to receive. If I constantly do X, I will receive Y. If I constantly do X, Y, and Z, then I will finally receive. Do you see what is hugely wrong with this mentality? We are focused on all of our limitations obsessively to the point where it's an addiction. It's an addiction that creates self-sabotage. It's an addiction that keeps us separate from our desires. It's an addiction to personal development. And it's a huge problem that is not talked about. There is nothing wrong with working on yourself. And I mean, I'm one of the many who love personal development work and growth on yourself and developing a better mindset and really getting into this place of, loving yourself more and healing yourself more and growing. There's nothing wrong with it. But when we are coming from the energy of, I need to fix myself, I am broken, I need to heal myself so I can receive, I need to do X, Y, and Z so I am finally capable enough, we are in an energy of separation. And that energy of separation is keeping us in a place of lack because we don't feel capable or deserving or worthy enough to fully receive, which goes into number 5. I don't feel worthy, deserving, or it doesn't feel possible for me to receive. The number one limited belief that we all have when it comes to manifesting is we don't believe it's possible. We don't believe we're capable. And we don't believe we can have it. That's the hugest thing in a nutshell. Like, the majority of us, when we get really stuck in manifestation, it's always one of those things. We don't believe we're worthy. We don't believe we're capable. We don't believe that we can have it. So it's impossible. So the fifth thing, I never talked about the chakras. The chakra for the fourth one, when we're obsessively looking for what's wrong with us, is a heart chakra issue, because it's about not accepting ourselves where we're at. So the fourth one is a heart chakra issue, because we have an inability to accept and love where we are already at in our present moment. And because we have an inability to love and accept ourselves in the present moment, we're not allowing ourselves to receive it. Really trippy. But if you think about it, if that is your problem, I want you to ask yourself right now, what can I love and accept about myself right now in this moment? And what do I need to let go to fully accept myself in this moment? And journal on that. I really want you to get clear on that, because that is going to help so much, because it will get you out of the spinning wheel of I need to find X, Y, and Z to heal myself. So going back to number 5 is possibility. We don't believe it is possible. And that is the third eye. Because the third eye is all about opening our mind to infinite possibilities. And if we don't believe in infinite possibilities, we're caught in a place of limitation. And so we're only focusing on our problems. We're focusing on our limitations. And so 4 and 5 kind of piggyback on each other. So if we're only focused on our limitations, we get limited results. If we're focused on limitless possibilities, we are moving in the path of least resistance. And that path of least resistance is going to propel you forward into multiple pathways of receiving the desire that you ultimately want. Also, when we have no ability to, when we don't feel that we can have what we want, we don't feel worthy of what we want, we have to start asking ourselves some deeper questions. Why do you not want it? For starters, why are you afraid to receive it? And ultimately, what are you not willing to accept and allow in to receive it? Because the totality of resistance is your inability and refusal to receive. So those are my 5 powerful manifestation tips connecting to the chakras on what is stopping you from manifesting. Of course, subscribe below, drop your questions, and I'll see you next time.